Hey everyone, Mike on Monday coming to you. Today I've got a special guest with me, Steve Feucht, who's one of our agronomists out of the Malone location. Steve has been working on a project following weather patterns or such in his area, and some of that data really became interesting as we got to see it. So I'm introducing Steve, and tell us about what you're watching and what you're learning in this process.
So started out in planning dates. Guys were able to get in the field a little earlier, yet growth wasn't happening any sooner than other years.
So that was for 2020?
2020 versus
Okay.
the past couple of years.
Yep.
And so started looking at weather patterns, what we've had, temperature and precipitation, going back to middle of May all the way through August to see what patterns we can follow or why we got to where we're at.
Okay.
May 19 versus May of 20, the last 15 days, we were actually cooler in 2020 than we were in 2019, but we accumulated 1 inch less of rain. Well, the amount was perfect. We were able to get stuff planted, but the cool temperature kept anything from coming out of the ground. June followed up, still stayed cold the first 10 days of June, kept the soil cool, but our precipitation started increasing. So for the month of June, we actually accumulated 100 more heat units in 2020 than we did in 2019, but it all came the last 2 weeks of the month. And we had 2 more inches of rain this year than we did in 2019. July followed up pretty consistent on heat units, but we had another 1.5 inches more rain in 2020 than we did in 2019. August, again, we had more heat units in 2020 than 2019 by 150, which is about the 10-day average, and our rainfall was similar. September, we had more rain in 2019 than we did in 2020, leaving us some dry fields for harvest.
Awesome.
So in total, by the end of August, we were over 200 heat units ahead for 2020, even starting off slower than we were, but we were 3.5 inches higher in rainfall. But the nice thing was, end of August, early September was dry, allowing for a nice harvest.
It really goes to show that the timing of all these weather events really have an impact on our crops. That when did the rain hit? When did the heat come? Did the rain get shut off in time for us to do any of the field operations out there, from planting to spraying to harvest, etc.? So, hey Steve, thanks for that update and such. It shows that all the variables that we're constantly trying to manage out there in the field, weather is one of the pieces of the puzzle that we're constantly trying to work with, even though it seems like Mother Nature doesn't always send it that way. But again, thanks for joining me here on Mike on Monday, and you folks be safe out there, and we'll talk to you next week.